Om Shanti. Today, when I was reading the Murli, I really felt that, when people talk about the purpose of life, they always talk about finding God. Yes, they always say that the purpose of life is to find God. And here, Baba has found us, and now Baba is every day telling us to, be happy about finding Him. And it is strange because we should be happy about finding Him anyway. And you see, when I came to Gyan, once I asked a very senior sister, so what is the purpose of life? So she said that if you look at the whole drama, this whole drama is about meeting Baba, taking your inheritance, and then separating from Baba, spending 5,000 years losing everything, and then waiting to again meet Baba. So at every point in the whole drama, what you only want is to meet Baba and take your inheritance. So almost for the whole cycle, you're seeking. For 2,500 years, you're more or less okay, and then later you start seeking. And then when you find Baba, I was just wondering, now that we've found Baba, Baba has adopted me, and Baba is giving me everything, the love, the nourishment, the teaching. He's making me worthy of being a Satyugi king. When he's doing all that, I spend most of the time realizing it. And then probably when I realize, I'm again, separated from Baba. So when you are in your complete state, you really realize what's going on, right? So I remember when this COVID time started and we could see whatever Baba was telling playing out very practically in many ways. At that time, everybody, I received at least 100 phone calls of people telling me that, whatever Baba was saying is true and it's all happening and this is just the beginning and there are other things to come. And then at that time, I also started realizing that, okay, maybe I was listening to Baba and doing whatever he was saying, but I don't know how much of realization I had that I'm doing the right thing. I felt I'm doing the right thing, but this realization that, yes, I'm actually doing the right thing dawned upon me at that time. And I felt that I was very lucky to have done what I had done, by default, because Baba comes into our lives and we feel, at some level, we always feel that this is Baba, but then I don't know whether we truly appreciate this is that God and I am that soul, the child of Baba, and this is all about meeting Him in that whole of eternity. You meet Him once. So in every 5,000 years, it's just once you meet Him, and it is this meeting, and then He's giving you whatever you need for the next whole cycle. I don't know whether we stay in that awareness all the time. And the the best part of this whole journey with Baba is you keep it it keeps reinforcing itself on you that this is Baba and you are the soul, and this is the time you're taking your inheritance, and actually you are creating the sanskars and everything that you need for the whole next cycle. So I was just wondering about all this when I was reading the Murli today, and Baba also talks about awareness today. And Baba says in the slogan, it's very interesting that Baba says, if you don't want to experience sorrow, then you step away from the world of sorrow. Yes, and you cannot step away from the world of sorrow by going to a jungle, because a jungle also has, those wild animals, and they have snakes and other stuff who are again trying to give you sorrow there. Yes, so it's not, you cannot step away from this world of sorrow physically. So, and Baba explains in the Murli how you can step away from this world of sorrow through awareness. So you can be here physically, but then your awareness will help you step away from the world of sorrow. And what is that awareness? So the awareness that I am a soul, and in all of 5,000 years, it is now that my Baba has come and he is giving me my inheritance, and I have been adopted by God himself, and he's teaching me Raj Yoga and making me into a king of a kingdom of happiness. This awareness, if you hold inside of yourself, then you can live in this world of sorrow and step away from it. So, have you ever fallen in love? So that is falling in love, of course. So you don't want to do it now, but then when you are in love, when you are young, and you sometimes feel like the world doesn't exist the way it used to. It looks very pink and rosy and romantic. Everything looks very different. So that's what happens when that's one instance where you have stepped away from the old world. And even if there is sorrow, even if there is pain, you don't feel it anymore. And when your idea of love gets fulfilled in the world, until it gets shattered, you are very happy. So you always nurture that idea since childhood, and it is fed into you, and then you feel like you found that one, and then you are very happy until you realize he's not the one or she's not the one. Because that's a false idea, so it cannot give you sustained happiness. Yes, and Baba tells us that the one you were actually looking for all these 2,500 years has come. And now that you have found him, you should feel that happiness. But incidentally, we have not been trained into that, because our movies never showed a person finding God and being happy. So we don't have that idea drilled into us. So do you understand that how we have been deceived into creating artificial ideas and feeling artificial happiness when those ideas get fulfilled? Yes, and I will tell you one thing. So all this glorification or that is done through the media. So, these days, there was this young girl and she came to me and she said that, Didi, I think I have anxiety. And she was very happily describing her state. So she said, I feel this pulsations inside, and I feel like my body is reacting to external situation, or I feel I'm feeling panicked, and there is something going on in my body. But I did not feel the resistance that she should have to that thing happening in the body. I don't know whether I am able to explain it properly, but I felt like that idea of these days in the media there is so much talk about mental illnesses that in some ways we have started glorifying it. And then when you glorify it, sometimes people feel that if I have it, then I am one amongst the privileged. And then you are not trying to get rid of it. You're trying to own it up, and you're trying to, tell others also. And all this is going on. And I did not feel her urge to get rid of it. When I was talking to her, I did not feel that she wants to get rid of it. And then I told her that it's not, but she said, no, all my friends are like this these days. And even the idea of behaving badly or being impulsive, you don't look down upon it anymore. So we have been conditioned to believe that this is a good way to be or good way to live. Or, even when you are in a romantic relationship, your idea of a relationship is there should be tears, and there should be disappointment, and there should be so many things. And when you see the hero or the heroine crying in the movie, you really feel that surge of emotion, and you want other people to have that same emotion for you. So there is a lot of glorification of sorrow, of pain, and sometimes we forget to see that as sorrow and pain. Am I able to communicate what I'm trying to say? Yes, so sometimes, this idea that we have, so the idea of purity has been made very bizarre. So, purity has been put in the same platform with, loss, and maybe you didn't get anything in life, so you're staying pure. And it has been drilled into us that it's not something you choose, it's something you are forced into. So a pure life is not what you choose. What do you choose? You should choose being with a person who abuses you, who is an alcoholic, and who beats you up, and then you cry, and still you love that person. And then when he commits suicide also, you are with him and you're living his dream. So all these things are made a part of our thought process through the movies we watch. And because of this whole idea of life coming from this totally artificial source, where we have never been educated to appreciate Baba's presence. So in no movie were we told that God comes and then you meet him and he's a point of light and you are a point of light, and then you dance in joy forever. So nobody gave you that image. So probably we need to make a movie about it. Yes, so that we get that idea. So Baba says, it is like this in truth, that you have this idea that when your vices are, you're given the dose of vice, you're given lust, you're given attachment, you're given greed, your greed is fulfilled, your attachment is fulfilled, or your ego is boosted, then you know how it feels. And then you know that there is a certain surge, so you feel pleasure, you feel attainment for some time, and then that whole facade just goes away. And then you feel disappointed, you feel like you're shattered and you're alone. But then Baba says, the one you were actually looking for and the one who gives you sustained and eternal happiness and joy and peace and love and pure joy and pure love is Baba. And when you've found Baba, this is the time you should feel that really you are in attainment and you are very happy. And you should be on top of the world, and you should be in a mental space where you forget everything around you. So do you feel that happiness? Do you feel that happiness of having found Baba? Yes. And I will also tell you one thing. While I was growing up, I was always taught that detachment is a virtue. So I remember when I used to separate from somebody, so maybe my cousins came over and they spent some time at home, and when they went away, and I used to miss them. So my parents used to tell me that, why are you missing anybody? It's not a good idea to miss anyone. And nobody told me that missing is normal. So, and I was always told that people come and people go and you don't have to miss them. And you stay where you are, and at that point of time they used to tell us, we are always together and it's okay, and even if we leave, you don't have to miss us. So, and then also, so this attachment was not glorified. Or probably, it was very messed up because attachment to them was glorified, but then not to others. I don't know what it was, but maybe they said, you become attached to us, that's okay, but don't get attached to others or something. That was the training. But now I see the culture is very different. People teach each other how to get attached. And you're always telling each other that if you're not missing me, it's bad. So you should miss me. And sometimes, you receive a call and they tell you, even students do this, Didi, don't you miss us? So, so I said, didn't you read the Murli? Baba said, only remember me. So, and Baba used to say, na bhulo, na bisro, na yaad karo. So never forget Baba and never remember anyone else. So this is a virtue. Baba says that not missing anyone is a virtue. So when you're with someone, you are available to them. It's not like when you're with someone, you start remembering Baba and you say that, oh, I'm remembering Baba, so I cannot be available for you. So it's not like that. You have fixed times of remembrance. You have Amrit Vela, you have evening meditation. At that time, if someone is there, you can excuse yourself and sit in remembrance. That is what Baba has told us. But all through the day, when you're with people, Baba says you have to be present with them and according to Srimad. Yes, so think according to Srimad, speak according to Srimad, engage according to Srimad, but you have to be with them. And Baba says, as soon as they are gone, you don't miss them or you don't think about the conversation you had with them. It's a full stop. Then you come to your awareness of a point and you only remember Baba. And when you have vicious relationships, so do you understand that this idea, this whole thing about how you engage in a pure manner and then completely detached when that person is gone, this idea you are able to apply with certain souls. Yes, somebody I'm able to apply it with someone who comes to the center to take a class, or able to apply it to my neighbor or somebody else. But then I'm not able to apply this behavior with everybody. And if you identify who are the people who you're not able to detach from immediately, those are the people you have vicious relationships with. So if you have a relationship based on greed, if you have a relationship based on financial gain, if you have a relationship based on emotional gain, if you have a relationship based on sensual gain, or you are getting appreciation and approval and acceptance from someone, then you are not able to detach from them because they are the source of, what you think you need. So you don't need these things, but in the absence of what you need, because we have led 25 years of existence in the absence of knowledge, purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss, and power. So we have conditioned ourselves to believe that we need money and we need emotional fulfillment and we need somebody to keep showering appreciation and approval on us, or we need sensual pleasure. So you cannot detach yourself from someone you think is supplying you with what you need. And this is why Baba says in the Murli today that if you want to stay in constant awareness of Baba and you want to feel the super sensuous joy that comes from that, then you have to detach from vicious relationships. You have to renounce vicious relationships. Now, how do you renounce vicious relationship? You don't renounce the person. You renounce the vicious relationship. So do you understand that from time to time you renegotiate in your relationships? Have you done this? So when you were just married, your relationship was different, and then you had a child, and then the relationship was renegotiated. Was it not? Earlier, your time was for each other only, or maybe work took away some of it. But then when the child came, you started to devote part of your time, each of you started to devote part of your time to the child. Yes, and then you knew that you will not be fully available only to each other. And you happily agreed to that renegotiation. Or when you got promoted at job, you renegotiated again that now my job will take more of my time and energy. But did that change your dynamic? You are still the same couple you were, is it not? So with new understanding, with new events, there is always a renegotiation. And if you look at the whole graph, your relationship with your spouse, your children, has been changing drastically over years, has it not? The whole paradigm shifts. Every 2 years, 3 years, it shifts. And now Baba says, with this new knowledge in light, when you have this new knowledge that my purity will lead me to becoming a master of the pure world, and that my thought has to be, or my mind and buddhi have to be used for Baba's remembrance, then in this new light, you start renouncing the viciousness in your relationship. So the relationship is still there, but you don't look at them as a source for emotional fulfillment or as a source for sensual fulfillment. You look at them like another respectable soul who is a partner with you on your spiritual journey. Yes? Can you change that attitude towards them? Yes? Every soul around you is a partner with you in your spiritual journey. Even when they look like, they look like creating obstacles on your spiritual journey, that's also an indirect way of help in your spiritual journey. Because they give you opportunities to deal with what is it that's getting triggered inside you when that obstacle, so-called obstacle, is coming your way. So when you have this respect for the other soul as a soul, so up until now we have looked at souls as sources. Yes, we always looked at every soul as a source. Have we not? Do an honest inquiry and you will know that. Every soul has been a source. And now when you have the source, you can just look at souls as souls. They don't need to be the source anymore. And every soul you can have a loveful and respectable relationship with, where they are not your source. Yes, but you value them because they are God's children. So you don't have to renounce a relationship, you have to renounce the viciousness in that relationship and make that relationship a spiritual relationship, the relationship a soul has with a soul, that of respect and love. Yes. And if you have a situation where you want to embrace purity and then your wife denies to cook, yes, so now you say Baba is doing everything for you, so ask Baba to cook, I'm not cooking. Okay, so this could be a situation. And then, so you can take Baba and cook and serve for her also. Yes, so then when you have renounced the old dynamic, you don't demand the old things. Okay, you can just live life the new way. So you can say, Baba, let's go and let's prepare bhog, and then I will offer it to you, and then even my wife will have that bhog. So you can say that. So I don't think that changing relationships or renegotiating relationships is difficult. But what happens is, when you say, I only want what I want to change and I want other things to stay intact. Yes, sometimes you say that I don't want them to be the source of sensual joy, but yes, I want them to be the source of physical comfort anyway. So they should make the bed and they should cook and they should clean and do everything else. But okay, lust is not agreed upon now. But then the whole dynamic has to change. You have to stop looking at the other person as the source completely. And whatever you agree upon later is based on mutual agreement. Yes, so you do what you like for me and I'll do what I like for you. And everybody likes this freedom. So, all of you who are struggling with celibacy in a marriage, I tell you, this is the formula. Because we want celibacy to be introduced, but we want everything else to stay intact. But no. Now the husband-wife relationship has crumbled down, so a new relationship is in place, and that's a spiritual relationship. And that spiritual relationship is a relationship of equality and mutual love and respect. And the old guidelines are no more in place. So you have to figure out a new guideline for your relationship. Yes, and then you have to really believe that you are a soul and not a female or a male. So this, when you renounce vicious relationships, then you are able to actually walk on the path that Baba is showing you, and then you still have relationships. And I'm one person who has never shied away from a relationship after I came to Baba. So all my friends are still my friends. Every relationship is intact and it's flourished in Baba's Gyan. It's not gotten worse, it's gotten only better. But then I understood that it cannot. So when I was in office, I understood that when I am a soul, my senior is a soul and my junior is also a soul. So I cannot say that my senior is a soul and now I have respectable relationship with him and I just choose to ignore his abuses and his shoutings. But when it comes to my junior, he is my junior, so he cannot shout at me. So when you are a soul, you are a soul, and the old dynamic changes. And then you are willing to have a relationship based on respect and mutual love with your senior as well as your junior. So what I'm trying to say is we always try to keep our sources intact. And then we try to, make changes only wherever we want. But no, all the sources have to crumble down. So nobody is giving you any supply of ego or lust or anger or attachment or greed. And then you are like, you have stepped away from the world of sorrow, and then you are in a different world where you are sourcing everything from Baba. And in order to source from Baba, just like when you're sourcing from humans, you need to invest your time, energy, thought, wealth, energy into that relationship, right? You think so much about people. You think so much about work. You spend so many thoughts on it. And only then are you able to source that fulfillment from it. Now, when you want Baba to be your source, you have to remember Baba. Yes, and Baba says in the Murli today, 8 hours of remembrance at least. And when you remember Baba 8 hours, Baba will be able to fill you like don't need anyone or anything. And Baba says you maintain a chart, you maintain an account of from what time to what time you remembered Baba, and you maintain your chart of awareness and keep checking whether you were able to maintain that 8-hour chart of remembrance. And Baba says, when you are able to do this, then you are shifting. You are shifting from a vicious world to a virtuous world. You're creating that world. So do you understand that what we are doing and what we are part of has never happened earlier? So Baba has never come earlier, and people talk about consciousness shift, but there has never been anything called consciousness shift before Baba. So Baba says, change that whole paradigm of who you are, who you belong to, who is your source of everything, who is your fallback, who is your go-to person. Everything is to change. It has to become just one Baba. And in the Murli today, Baba says that in Bhakti also you sang, Mere to ek girdhar Gopal dusra na koi. Yes, so you said that God is my only one. God is the only one that I belong to. But then it never happened in Bhakti. But now that has to practically happen. And we have this sanskar of saying something and doing something. So have you seen that in meditations you are able to completely belong to Baba? So you love that idea of being immersed in Baba's love and all, but then when it comes to practical life, 24 hours of your existence, you don't want to do that. Because this is what we did in Bhakti. We made false promises and never lived up to them. But now Baba says, now the time of false promise is gone. Now I'm here and I'm counting on you. You have to do what you have always said. Now only I have to be part of your life. And everyone else is there, and there is a spiritual relationship, and there is pure love, respect, and everything. But then nobody is your source. I'm your only source. I'm your only go-to person. I'm your only fallback. I'm your only one. Come to that place. And Baba says, once you come to that place, you realize that you have stepped away from the world of sorrow, and hence you don't experience any sorrow. So this whole shift has to happen. And today, in the blessing, Baba says that may you constantly wear your crown of light and have all your activities carried out with signals from your thoughts. And Baba says today 2 things. Accumulate the power of silence and constantly wear your crown of light. And I remember this story. There was this girl and she purchased a hat from a shop. And it was a very beautiful hat. And when she wore that hat and walked down the street, then people started looking at her. And she knew that she looked pretty in the hat. So she also started acting pretty because she felt pretty. And then when she walked down that whole lane, she saw that until the last person she crossed, everybody was looking at her and looking at her with admiration. And when she reached home, she found out that she had no hat on her head because that hat had blown away in the wind somewhere in the middle of the path. But then because she felt she's wearing that hat, she felt pretty, so she looked pretty. And then people anyway continued to look at her admiringly. So Baba says, now you don't need to wear a hat. You just need to remember your crown of light that is shining because you are a star of light. So always remember you are the star of light and there is a crown of light around your forehead. Can you see your crown of light? Yes? Just become self-aware for a minute and see that you are a star radiating this light of purity which is forming a crown of light around your head. And Baba says, so pay attention to accumulating silence during the day and always remain aware of your crown of light. And when you do that, it will fill you with so much of purity and the power of the spiritual practitioner that you will be able to shift to a place where your thoughts become very powerful. So you think as you are, and the more you start seeing yourself as the owner of a crown of light and the one who is filled with the power of silence, then your thoughts become very powerful. And then you will not need to communicate through physical means of words and actions. You will be able to communicate with thoughts. So this is a very, very big blessing that Baba has given us. And so today, practice staying aware of your crown of light and practice staying in silence more and more. Om Shanti.